Hi guys, today I will be sharing chocolate cupcakes with fudge icing. Let me tell you in advance that this is a very rich cupcake. So to make the homemade version of the buttermilk, this is 1 cup of fresh milk plus 1 tablespoon of vinegar that I will set aside for about 10 minutes. This is 1 tablespoon of hot water, and then I will add the 1 teaspoon of instant coffee. And then we will mix this, and then we will let this cool down completely. This is 2 teaspoons of baking soda. This is 1/4 teaspoon of salt. We've got 2 teaspoons of vanilla in there, and this is the buttermilk that we made. Half a cup of sour cream, 1 1/3 cup of sugar, 3/4 cup of butter, 2 eggs, 1 cup of cocoa powder, and 1 3/4 cups of cake flour. Combine the cake flour, salt, baking powder, and the cocoa powder. By the way, I'm using Dutch processed cocoa powder. Give it a mix, and then we will sift this. Aside while we move on to the next stage. Begin by beating the butter. At this point, we can add the sugar. I find that it's easier to mix if you add the sugar gradually, but it's up to you how you want to add the sugar. And then we're gonna continuously beat this for about 3 to 4 minutes or until the butter sugar mixture is light and fluffy. At this point, we can add the vanilla. Give it a quick mix. Now we can add the eggs one at a time, beating in each addition. This is the second egg. Scrape down the side of the bowl, and then we will set this aside. We just gonna mix the liquid ingredients. So this is the buttermilk, and then I'll be adding the sour cream on it. Give it a mix. It doesn't have to be fully incorporated. You will see lumps of sour cream, but that's totally fine. And now we're gonna add the coffee. And now we're ready to combine the dry and wet ingredients into the butter mixture. I will be adding the flour in 4 additions and the buttermilk in 3 additions. So I'll start with the flour mixture. You can use a handheld mixer if you wish, but I find that using the spatula to mix this makes the cupcake light and fluffy because we're not developing the gluten. So now I'll add the first addition of the buttermilk. And then continue doing this. Again, we'll start with the flour, and then we're gonna end up with the last addition of the flour. this is the last addition of the buttermilk. And this is the last addition of the flour. Continue to mix until everything is well combined. At this point, your oven should be preheated at 170 degrees Celsius, and your baking pan is also prepared, and this is now ready to be baked. So I'm gonna scoop in about 3/4 full of the batter into the cupcake pan, just like so. Then bake this in a preheated oven at 170 degrees Celsius for about 25 to 30 minutes, or until when you insert the toothpick in the middle and the toothpick comes out clean. And halfway through baking, rotate your pan so it bakes evenly, and this is what it looks like after baking. Let it cool down in a wire rack completely. This is my own version of fudge icing. We need 1 tablespoon of glucose. This is 340 grams of dark baking chocolate that I will melt. This is 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 cup of Dutch processed cocoa powder. This is 1 cup plus 1/4 cup of room temperature butter, 1/4 cup of icing sugar, 1/4 cup plus 1 tablespoon of water. So we're gonna add the 1 tablespoon of glucose into the pan of water, and then we're gonna move on to the stove and we're gonna let this boil. Once it boils, turn off the heat, and then we will add the cocoa powder. We're gonna mix this until there's no more lumps of cocoa powder, and then we will set this aside to cool down completely. Now I'm gonna mix the room temperature butter and the icing sugar. At this point, I will sift the icing sugar. It is advisable to use an electric mixer for this. I use the whisk. I don't know why. It's harder to mix the butter and the sugar using a whisk, but it will work. And then scrape down the sides of the bowl. At this point, we will add the melted chocolate. It is important that the melted chocolate and the butter is both at room temperature so that we will avoid the chocolate from sizzing. And then we will combine this thoroughly. You can use a electric mixer but use low speed. Now we will add the water and cocoa mixture. Make sure that the cocoa water mixture is at room temperature as well, so it will not melt the butter. Now if you're icing a brownie, you can use this straight away, but if you wanna pipe this, you need to wait at least an hour to use it, so it will set up and firm up a little bit. So I'm just gonna put this in the fridge for 15 minutes just to speed up the process. You can let this set at room temperature if you're not in a hurry to use it. So after about 15 minutes, this is pipeable for me, so I'm gonna use it now. I'm experimenting between 1M and 2D. So use piping tip. So this is 1M. Pipe the fudge icing on top of the cupcakes, and then I'm using sprinkles to decorate the cupcakes. And this is our finished product. Again, these cupcakes have a dark chocolate flavor into it. So if you love dark chocolate flavor, you're gonna like this. And then just to show you what it looks like inside the cupcake, this is so moist and so light. So I hope you enjoy them. Thank you so much for watching.